Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael Clement, and in this video I'm going to be walking you through how to learn the great jazz standard Satin Doll from a lead sheet, and I'm also going to show you some ways to improvise over it. So let's go ahead and get into the video. But first, if you are new to jazz piano and reading jazz chords, playing jazz chords, I definitely recommend checking out my free ebook and video course, Anyone Can Play Jazz Chords, so that you can confidently read jazz chords and not always feel like you're reading a foreign language whenever you pull up a lead sheet. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So the first thing we want to do is just get comfortable with playing the melody before we add any chords. And the nice thing about this jazz standard is that the rhythm is already written into the song. A lot of times for different lead sheets, we'll have to stylize the rhythm a little bit, but for this one, we're just going to play it exactly as is. So we'll just need to get comfortable with reading those rhythms and making sure that you're counting aloud with them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. A common rhythm that people have a little bit of trouble with is this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And so if that is difficult for you, just spend a little bit of time getting comfortable speaking out loud that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and then after a little bit of time doing that, as long as you're counting out loud and clapping, you'll be able to play that no problem. So let's go ahead and start from that fifth measure on the A minor 7. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are the A sections, and I would say the main issue there is just getting comfortable with playing that kind of ricochet rhythm, meaning it's right off of the downbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. So that's the challenge there. And then when we get into the bridge or the B section, this is the rhythm. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And notice that same challenge is just that we are missing beat 3 and then we're missing beat 1 in the next measure. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So once again, very important that you, when you're first learning how to count these rhythms, that you're counting out loud, and that you're just getting used to how that feels in your body to play those rhythms. Again, make sure you slow down, count, clap the rhythm if you need to. Just get really comfortable with that rhythm, because those are the things that will trip you up when you're first getting started. Once you've practiced it this way and you break it down, it's not going to be any problem. But just get comfortable with those rhythms. So the next line of the bridge, it's the same rhythm, it's just up one whole step. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the melody to Satin Doll, and it's nice that we can just read the rhythm that is there, but if you're not comfortable or if you're not familiar reading jazz rhythms, then I would definitely spend that time really slow down so you can get comfortable. Okay, so the next part is that we're going to get comfortable with the chords, and one nice thing is that basically all of the chords in this song are a 2 chord or a 5 chord in a bunch of different keys. And this is a really common jazz standard to learn early on in your journey, because it does show you this pattern of chords. Right here at the beginning, we have D minor 7 going to G7. And this is such a common pattern in jazz, going from a minor 7 chord to a dominant 7th chord up a 4th. So we have D minor 7, G7, D minor 7, G7. And just get comfortable with how that is laid out. We have our D minor 7, and then we just move these top 2 fingers down a step. Now it's going to be a little bit different when we have some different keys and we have some sharps and flats, but just know that we're just moving these top 2 notes to go from the 2 chord in whatever key we are to the 5 chord. So, of course, for the G7, we're playing D, F, G, B, right? The chord G7 is going to be G, B, D, F, but we're flip-flopping it, and we're going to do the D, F, G, B. So that way we don't have to jump like this for every chord. It keeps it nice and smooth. And then for the E minor 7 to A7, we're going E, G, B, D, and then we're going E, G, A, C sharp, right? So once again, we're just moving these top 2 notes, E, G, A, C sharp, right, for that second chord, and that happens twice. And then this is very interesting because we're on an A7, which has the C sharp, and then we go to an A minor 7. The only thing that changes is the C sharp going to the C natural, right? So this changes our pattern a little bit. We're going A minor 7 in our second inversion, which basically just means that the 5th is on the bottom. We have E, G, A, and C. And then our next chord is D7, which is D, F sharp, A, and C. And then we have A flat minor 7. These 2 chords are probably the hardest chords of this entire song, but essentially what we're doing is we're doing A minor 7 to D7, and then everything is moving down a half step from our A minor 7. So if we go from our A minor 7 down a half step, we have E flat, G flat, A flat, and C flat. Now you can think about it just as a B, but because we're trying to keep things, same chord, but just down a step, we usually think about this as being a C flat. And then D flat 7 is D flat, F, A flat, and then C flat. So I would spend some time practicing that, just getting comfortable with that move from A minor 7, D7, A flat minor 7 to D flat 7. And then when we finally get to the C chord, we're going to make this a C6. I think it just really fits with the style. You could do a C major 7 or a C major 6. The difference being that the C6 has an A on top, whereas the C major 7 has the B on top. It doesn't really matter, but I don't know. Right now I'm just feeling the C6. And then we have E half diminished, or E minor 7 flat 5, and then A7. If you're not familiar with this minor 7 flat 5, definitely go check out that ebook. We're going to break it down for you and get this really comfortable so that you can read these chords. Okay, so then we repeat the A section again. All right, we just want to get nice and comfortable with these chords. A minor 7, D7, A flat minor 7, D flat 7 to C. And then we continue on D minor 7, D sharp, diminished 7, which is D sharp, F sharp, A, and C. And then we have E minor 7, which is E, G, B, and D. And then starting with the bridge, we have G minor 7, C7. Once again, you see the same pattern is cropping up, where we have the 2, the 5, the 2, the 5, and then we go, in this case, we go to the 1. So G minor 7 was G, B flat, D, and F. C7 is C, E, G, and B flat. We're going back and forth between those, and then we have F major 7, F, A, C, E. And then doing that again. And then A minor 7, D7. Notice that this is actually the same chord progression as we have earlier, except we're up a little bit. We could do it lower, but just the way that we've started this phrase, it means that we're here up on by the time we get to the A minor 7. So A minor 7, D7, A minor 7, D7, and then E minor 7, A7, D minor 7, G7. And then, just for the sake of keeping things simple, I'm going to jump back down to the lower version of the D minor 7, just so I don't have to play things two different ways the first time I'm learning the tune. Eventually, we want to be comfortable with switching between the different positions, but we just want to get comfortable where we're at. All right, same thing as the first section. And then we have E half diminished going to A7, and I forgot to write in the E half diminished before. It just has E, G, B flat, and D instead of E, G, B natural, and D. So E minor 7 flat 5 will be E, G, B flat, and D. So those are the chords, and for this song, when we finally put these things together, this is what it will sound like. So we're just going to keep the rhythms of the left hand nice and solid. We're just going to do half notes straight on the beat. That way, the melody is going to feel like it is it's adding energy to the left hand, and we're not feeling like everything is constantly moving. So this is how that'll sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. Occasionally, you could push it. Do it along with the melody. Maybe put in a little bit of rhythm. Okay, so as I was playing through that, I did show you some different ways that you could add rhythm, but for the most part, we just want our left hand to be steady. That way we can get comfortable with the different rhythms that are happening in the right hand. So that's our main focus, just getting comfortable with that. And then the last thing I want to do is just show you our double take, which is one thing that we're going to do that's going to push you a little bit further than this beginning jazz piano space that you're in right now, which is I just want to show you some easy ways that we can improvise on this song. If you look at the melody, you'll notice that a lot of times you have in these pairs of chords, the melody is just on two notes. So at the beginning here, we have the melody is just on the A and the G. Right? And without even knowing much about the chords or understanding really how to solo or anything like that, you can start soloing with just these two notes. And that's what I'm going to recommend that you do, is once you can play through this song with just the melody, see if you can just start to play along with those two notes that are in the melody. So this is how that would sound like. And sometimes it sounds like the melody, right? Because I'm using the same two notes. Make sure that you're just thinking about the rhythm. The rhythm's the most important thing. And then as we get to the bridge, we actually have four notes to choose from. So you can just improvise in these first two measures and just get comfortable with something like this. And you could continue And now the chords change a little bit, so I'm just going to recommend for right now, if you want to stretch yourself even further and experiment with repeating some of the notes that you're playing in the left hand, right? You can, but for this video mostly, I'm just showing you how you can improvise on the notes of the melody. Those are all fair game. This is a great thing to practice on Satin Doll. So once again, here's the last A section. And you can add some notes that are not in that melody if you want. And the way that I'm choosing those notes that I add in the melody is I'm just thinking of a note that's in the chord, right? Any note that is in the chord that I'm playing in my left hand is fair game. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm feeling it, I'm hearing it going up, right? Then go ahead and try that and see what you come up with. A great way to practice improvisation, just kind of as a general statement, is that we have some sort of exercise that you try that is fairly restrictive. In this case, we have a melody that's just 2 notes a lot of the time, and so we can improvise with those 2 notes. Once you start to notice yourself getting a little bit bored, then that is a great time for you to consider what else could I try? What else is possible? And then you can take your ideas further. You can start looking for other ways that you can solo. So I hope that this was exciting for you to get started with improvising with Satin Doll, playing a jazz standard. Once again, if you are new to jazz piano and you just need a way to get started with playing jazz chords, definitely check out my free ebook and video course, Anyone Can Play Jazz Chords. And if you are wanting to go to the next step and take a big journey into jazz piano and get started in a way that's going to be easy and step-by-step, definitely check out my full flagship jazz piano course for beginners, the Jazz Piano Launchpad. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and check out one of my latest videos where I broke down the great jazz standard, All of Me. I'll see you in the next video.